In the second consolidation workings example, I want us to expand on the previous scenario by adding an element of earnings retained since the date of subsidiary acquisition. And example 2 reads, P acquired the entire share capital of S for €8,000 on the 1st of January 2017, when the statement of financial position of S was as follows. As you can hopefully see, the numbers presented correspond exactly to those which you saw being used in the previous example. Reading on the 31st of December 2017, the statements of financial position of the two companies are as follows. And our job is to prepare a consolidated statement of financial position as at the 31st of December, which therefore becomes the date of consolidation. Just as before, the first working concerns group structure, and we will once again write that P owns 100% of S as at the 31st of December 2017, which we have identified as the date of consolidation. The second working is subsidiary net assets, and once again we are going to have the same three columns as before, so that's acquisition date, consolidation date, and post-acquisition. This time, however, we will have an opportunity to make more use of all three. So, in the acquisition date column, we have 5,000 in respect of share capital and 3,000 for retained earnings. Moving on to the consolidation date column, we may input the relevant equity balances of S as at the 31st of December, that is 5,000 and 5,500 for share capital and retained earnings respectively. Just as before, the post-acquisition column will show nothing in respect of share capital, but we will use it to identify the post-acquisition movement in the subsidiary's retained earnings. That is the difference between the €5,500 as at the date of consolidation and the €3,000 at the point of acquisition, giving a difference of €2,500. The third working, goodwill, takes on the same shape as in the previous example. We start with the €8,000 investment by the parent entity and deduct the 8,000 fair value of the subsidiary's net assets as at the date of acquisition, which we take from the acquisition date column in working 2. As before, we conclude that there was no goodwill arising on the transaction. At this point, it is important to stress that the net assets total used for the purposes of computing goodwill should always come from the first column of working 2, that is the column labeled acquisition date. Under no circumstances should you ever calculate goodwill using balances pertaining to the consolidation date. Working number 4 is once again called non-controlling interest, but we will not be utilizing it yet, which brings us to working 5, group retained earnings. Just as in example 1, we begin with the entire retained earnings of the parent as at the date of consolidation, giving 17,000, to which we add the parent's share of retained earnings generated by the subsidiary since the acquisition. In working 2, we identified that the retained earnings of S grew by 2,500 since acquisition, and seeing as P owns 100% of S, the entire growth is attributable to the parent. The group retained earnings total therefore comes in at €19,500. Let us now put all of the pieces together in the consolidated statement of a financial position as at the 31st of December 2017. We begin with other assets, that is the sum of the two numbers coming from the books of P and S, so that's 20,000 and 14,000, giving €34,000. In light of the fact that there was no goodwill generated upon the transaction, that result is also the figure for total assets. Moving on to the equity section. The share capital of the group is always the same as the share capital of the parent, so €6,000. The group retained earnings total derived in working 5 was €19,500, giving an overall consolidated equity balance of €25,500. Group liabilities are simply the sum of the relevant P and S numbers, producing €8,500, which brings the balance of consolidated equity and liabilities to €34,000.